Okay, here we go. Your first lesson, I will bring to you tomorrow your tests from your last exam that you took. Overall, you guys did well, okay? I will tell you that for your Riverland grade, you guys will have to register for Riverland classes coming up here in like 2 weeks. You do not re-register for this class, okay? Because this was a fall semester class. So people who are taking this class at Riverland, they are done, okay? Now you're like, well, why aren't we done? Because you cover more material, okay? All right? Trust me, we're in a good spot, okay? All right, second thing is that if you want to know your grade for Riverland, you will average all 4 quarters. See what I'm saying? Okay? You're going to have 3 tests this quarter, and then you'll have most likely 2 tests fourth quarter, just because we lose so many days due to the AP exams and stuff. Because when you guys are taking AP Macro and AP English and AP Bio, you're not in calculus those days, are you? So we have to account for all those pieces. So it's tough to cover as many days. We don't have as many instructional days.
So since technically we're not like registered for this class this semester, we still count these quarters?
Yes, yep. So you will do an average of the 4 quarters. Riverland knows that. They understand that. We have an agreement. It's all good, okay? I will produce for you tomorrow your last tests with the box and whisker plot. And I'll also show for you, Ella asked about this, I'll produce for you the box and whisker plot of the practice AP test, okay? So I told you before you take the AP exam, you will take a practice AP exam in my class that will be scored. Okay, and I'll show you how they did last year, so that way you can hopefully iron out any concerns that you have. Okay, everybody got that? All right. How much calculus do you know for second semester right now? You know none. Okay, so just understand every day you are learning something new. I cannot tell you enough how important it is for this chapter that you pay attention to each piece as we go by. The instruction is super important. This first test is usually a really, really good test for people. So I encourage you to try to do really well on this first one, because test 2 and 3 can be a little bit more challenging.
Does this semester go better than before?
I would say that second quarter for a lot of people is a challenging quarter for calculus. So I would say that third and fourth can go better. Depends on your level of senioritis. Okay?
Well, that's sort of like
All right. So calculus has 3 big ideas. One is finding a limit. Have we talked about finding a limit? In fact, we did a lot of different ways of finding a limit. We even used that crazy L'Hopital's rule thing. Remember that? Second thing is you should also learn how to find what is the biggest thing we did first semester? We found derivatives. Like, we use that word a lot, right? And so we're going to introduce a third idea now. The very first big idea that we came up with in calculus, and you don't have to write this down, but we said, how do you find the equation for a line tangent at a given point? Remember us doing that? We did that a lot in different ways. Now that's kind of secondary, it's old hat. The big question now that we have that's really cool with calculus, and this was actually the first question that calculus asked. How do you find area? Yeah. Like, for example, the area of a circle is pi r squared. Area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. How do you find volume? What's the volume of a box? What's the volume of a sphere? 4/3 pi r cubed. Now it's interesting, you were given that as a formula. 4/3 pi r cubed. That's what you're given as a formula back in geometry. But why? You actually can't show that that's the formula until you get to calculus. And we can't actually do it until we get to the latter part of chapter 6. So it's like, what's the big question? Finding area and volume is tough, especially if you don't know the shape. What if we were going to try to find the area of that shape? And what I mean is, what if you were to try to find this area? Now, careful as you don't shade it in, because you're going to do an activity here, okay? That area. Now, I'm going to tell you that this equation that bounds it from the top is y equals 3 roots of x. Okay, I'm going to tell you that right now, that y equals 3 roots of x. That is the equation that bounds it on the top. But calculus asks, what's the area beneath it? And it has incredible application, especially in topics like economics. But we want to find that area. I don't want you to find the area yet. What I want you to do is this. I want you to talk to those around you. I want you to come up with like an upper limit. Like there's no way it's this much. Do you know what I mean? Like so you can see it's 10 wide here, okay, and it goes certain various amounts high. Come up with a number. You're like, well, it's no way it's as much as this. Talk to a person, okay? It's no way it's as much as this. Talk. Go. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Can't be what? 100. Okay, I love the thought. It can't be 100. Because as you're looking at it, 100 would be this shape right there, right? And we know it's smaller than that, right? So 10 by 10, that would be 100. Definitely less than 100. Now what I want you to do is I want you to talk about it's got to be at least what? Come up with an idea. Go, talk. Okay, let's take somebody's thought. Somebody's thought has to be at least what? What'd you come up with? At least 30. Why?
Because a 6 by 6 square would be 36 bigger.
Okay, so what you did is you kind of looked at this square, say 4 up to about 6 and over, and you said that this has an area right there of 36. Is that fair? You're like, we've definitely got more than that, right? In fact, some of you might be like, well, I'll even go further because I could look here and say, well, I've got 8 to 10, so it looks like it goes up, say, another 2 and over 2, like that's an area of 4 about, right? And then you might say, well, I'm going to go over there and down there, so that's like up 4 and over, so that's like 8. So all of a sudden we're at 48. All of a sudden we're coming up with a better approximation, aren't we? You have 10 minutes to come up with an approximation to the nearest hundredth of what you think it is, and I will have a prize for the group of 2 or 3 that is the closest. Must work in a group of 2 or 3. Go. Take your time. You got 10 minutes. Part of you is saying right now, well, Mr. Gentz, we're just like drawing shapes and finding area. Yes. For this test, you will have to be able to draw the appropriate shapes and find the area to estimate. And eventually we will get to the exact value. We'll pick up, we won't start. Tomorrow we begin there. Today's exercise, you may look back, you may say, oh, well, we were just kind of guessing and doing stuff. Yeah, that's an important step to know how to do for this next test. And we will show you the type of guesses that you want to make, and you'll become more accurate. Have a great day.